about it is all about the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This virus is attacking us. For the past year we had gone through another a new strain has come. Not only one, there are various strains. There is a UK strain, there is a Brazilian strain, and there are other strains also which may emerge due to mutations and variations. So in this video, basically I'm not going to focus on the new variant of this virus. What I'm focusing on is basically the RT-PCR method and the blood test method that is initiated to detect a person, whether the person is attacked by this virus or not. Virus is present among us, means it's all around us. When I'm speaking, it's there, but our body has an immune system which is producing antibodies, and these antibodies are protecting us from any germ, not only virus. There can be other germs also. So what happens is, this virus is, it's the name, severe acute respiratory syndrome. It attacks our respiratory system, and thus it creates problem for the immune system. So when we are talking about the method, reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction, this is a way to find out whether the person is infected or not, and by how much he can cause the infection, or what is the intensity of his of the infection that he is carrying in his body. Another method is the blood test method, which is a very arbitrary method. You can only find out whether the person is currently infected or not. This is based on the antibody test that we do, and it is a very rapid test. Within 10 to 15 minutes it can be done. But RT-PCR, that is a reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, this method will give us a detailed analysis of the germ, how much it is attacking, and how much we can be a cause of transmission of this virus. So SARS-CoV-2, let's go on with the discussion. When it attacks, there was actually, this is nothing new at all. You should not be panicking about it. This is somewhere in our life, somewhere we had been attacked with this virus already. SARS-CoV-1 was there, and there was in February 2002, that year, when there was an outbreak in China, and this virus became a cause of a global hazard, and 4 other countries were also being infected. So there's nothing to panic about it. Obviously you need to take the preventive measures, and in this discussion I'm not going to talk about vaccination and the new strain, so which will not be covered in this discussion. In this discussion basically it's all about the testing method. So let's see what is happening. The virus has means a structure like this. Say this is the virus which has spike protein. The spike protein is actually a coat, and inside there is the genetic material. Now in virus, what is happening? The spike protein, when I am talking about, we are focusing on mainly the genetic material of the virus, which is RNA. RNA is actually single-stranded, positive single-stranded, and the spike protein is mainly where the means it clings to the host, it attaches its spike protein to the host, and then it starts its activity. So as soon as it gets a host, it starts its activity. So let's see what about the genetic material. In virus, RNA is the genetic material. What happens is, in a polymerase chain reaction, now I am going back to that part. In polymerase chain reaction, what we do normally is, we take a double-stranded DNA, and this is a double-stranded structure. So this is a DNA. From DNA, you can prepare a single-stranded RNA. And normally what happens in transcription, from DNA, we prepare mRNA, that is the messenger RNA that encodes protein, and henceforth this process is actually transcription. We call it transcription. In this process, what is happening, when the genetic material is RNA, which is a single-stranded, positive single-stranded. So what I need to draw is RNA. Basically, RNA is made up of ribonucleotides. DNA is made up of deoxyribonucleotides, and RNA is made up of ribonucleotides. What happens from one single-stranded, this is a single-stranded RNA, from there we will a double-stranded DNA, which is a very difficult task. It is very difficult to prepare DNA from RNA, and that will be our activity. From RNA, when we prepare the double-stranded DNA, we call it cDNA or complementary DNA. So this is what we are going to do. Now how we will do it? Let's see. The collection means when we think of a person who is doubtful, means we have a doubt whether this person is infected by this virus, because this coronavirus is basically RNA virus, okay, and this virus has RNA as its genetic material. So let's see how we are going to find out whether a person is carrying the coronavirus or not. Each antibody is very specific, means every virus is a swab collection. Okay. Now this swab collection is done in two ways. You can call it oropharyngeal. In medical terms we call it, or biological terms, it's oropharyngeal, nasopharyngeal, otherwise saliva also. What is happening is, it's a very simple process. The earbuds that you have for your ears, it has a flexible head. Those earbuds, in this case, these are long buds, longer than this pen also, than this marker also, and it has a flexible head. You take a swab from inside of your nostril, so it has to go quite deep. Whether it hurts or not, that is also means a panic that people think about it, but you can get it quite easily. Just little bit you have to put it inside your nasopharyngeal or oropharyngeal. When you open your mouth, deep inside you will find, not very deep inside that you start vomiting or something, but you have to collect little bit swab, and after collection of this swab, it has to be tested. It has to be tested whether it is a blood test method we will adopt, which is the method 2, or RT-PCR method, where we will try to find out whether the SARS-CoV-2 virus is present or not. That is what the process is all about. Now, as I said, this virus, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, carries the ribonucleotides, and its genetic material is RNA. So what happens is, from RNA, as I have explained, it's very difficult to get the double-stranded DNA, and in this case there is means from RNA to DNA, which is double-stranded. I am going to represent like this, DS. We use the enzyme reverse transcriptase. Why it is reverse transcriptase? Let me explain that process by which you can amplify DNA, but it cannot work on RNA. That is what the point is all about. So if you have any doubt about it, please go on and watch my previous video, my earlier video on polymerase chain reaction, where I have explained how it is done, how the amplification of DNA takes place. So after that it will be quite easy to understand this. So this RNA, which is not capable, means a PCR reaction cannot run on RNA, and this coronavirus has the genetic material which is RNA in this case, and how to work the PCR on RNA, it is impossible. So what we do is, we take the RNA, which is a single-stranded structure made up of ribonucleotides. It is positive standard we are talking about it, and we have to convert it. We have to change it into a double-stranded DNA, which is known as complementary DNA. And now, in normal transcription process, when I am explaining transcription, what should I focus on? That it is, in case of transcription, DNA is going to be, DNA is not capable of coming out of the nucleus and entering into the cytoplasm. So we have to prepare a template model of the DNA, and that is known as mRNA, or the messenger RNA. That's what the process is. The process is, usually in transcription, what is happening? This is transcription process. One, DNA is changed into mRNA, which is a messenger RNA, which encodes protein. It carries the code to encode protein, and then you can talk about the process of translation also. But in this case, it will be the reverse of this transcription. That is, from RNA, which is a single-stranded structure, you will try to take one dsDNA, that is a double-stranded DNA, which is known as complementary DNA, and that DNA will be amplified. Now what happens is, during the process of, once you prepare the DNA, now you can run the PCR. So that's why the term has come, that is, it is reverse transcription, or real-time PCR also you can say, reverse transcription. The transcription that is taking place is reverse of the normal procedure. In case of DNA to mRNA, it is known as transcription. In this case, it is from RNA, you are preparing one cDNA or a complementary DNA, which is a double-stranded structure, and as it is a reverse process, it is known as reverse transcription. Now, as this process is going on in a real-time mode, we call it real-time reverse transcription process. Now, this is to be understood how it is very interesting in this case. What happens is, we have prepared from RNA complementary DNA, that is a double-stranded structure. Now, this will act as a model, and now we will run the PCR reaction to amplify our target DNA. Once your complementary DNA, we are not concerned with all the DNA molecules. We are only concerned with a particular region which carries the viral RNA. So amplification of that region only should be done, which is having the viral RNA. China has already supplied us with the sequence, that a particular coronavirus carries a particular sequence, and that sequence is, say, means you can take it RNA, which is comprised of, if DNA, if we are talking about DNA, it is ATGC. In this case, it is, instead of T, you have U, so you can say it's all about AUG. That sequence, maybe you can take it A, U, G, C, C, G, A. In this way, a 15 to 20 nucleotide sequence can be there. And in this case, what we do is, now what we have to do, we have to run the PCR in a real-time mode to see whether our target DNA, from RNA we have prepared that DNA, and from there, this DNA that we have prepared, we will run it in PCR. PCR chain reaction is all about denaturation, annealing, and elongation. So in denaturation, this will separate into two different strands, and then primers will anneal. Primers, when it anneals, these primers are actually short nucleotide sequences, which are having that sequence, that of SARS-CoV-2, and they will attach at either end, okay, and then it will be extended. This is what the idea is all about. But we need to find out from that collection whether that target DNA is amplified or not, and that to find out whether our target DNA is amplified or not, we will use a probe which is going to give out some colors, and from that color we will detect, yes, this person is tested positive. So let's look at the detailed study. It's not a very detailed study I'm going on with it, still I'm trying to make it simple. Now that we have one RNA, which is a single-stranded structure, from there we have prepared cDNA, which is complementary DNA, which is double-stranded. How? By the process reverse transcription. Reverse transcription, the enzyme that is present to do it is reverse transcriptase. This is the name of the enzyme that will convert RNA into cDNA. And now we can run the PCR, because PCR doesn't act on RNA, it will act on only DNA. Now we make multiple copies of this DNA, but when we make multiple copies of this DNA, we fail to understand whether our target DNA is amplified or not. We may have a collection, we may have other kind of virus which is also present in that person. We may also have some bacteria. So we need to find out whether our viral RNA is present or not. And to find out that, we use a probe. That is, this probe that is used generally is known as Syber green. I'm going to write it like this, SYBR green. It emits a green color. Normally what is happening in Syber green probe is actually fluorescently labeled, and when it attaches to the primers, it attaches its either end. If you are trying to remember my reaction explanation, the primers which are going to attach either in the forward or in the reverse direction, when it attaches in the 5 prime, it is known as the reporter molecule. So I'm not going to that discussion. I'm going to go in a different track then. So let me focus on this. This probe will bind to a double-stranded DNA and it will emit fluorescence. The moment it detects that this is the region when it is having that double-stranded DNA, our target DNA, it will give out some color. That is, it will give out fluorescence. So this probe that is used in RT-PCR reaction, it's a very expensive one and it is known as Hyber green. Normally in free solution it is having slight fluorescence, but when it is bound to a DNA molecule, a double-stranded DNA molecule, it emits 1000 times fluorescence. So by that you can understand, yes, our target DNA is amplified. See, target DNA is what? That sequence we need to detect, which is present in SARS-CoV-2. We are not concerned with the entire DNA molecule. Entire DNA molecule is not a concern for us. What we are concerned with? We are concerned with a particular region, say this region, which is carrying that SARS-CoV-2 sequence. SARS-CoV-2 has a specific sequence and China has given us this sequence so that we can detect. Different countries are also having their own kits developed and they are trying to find out different sequence of RNA from their kits. They are trying to find out and detect SARS-CoV-2. So this is what the basic idea. From RNA we have prepared cDNA and now we will run it in PCR. PCR is a very cyclic process. It goes on in 35 to 40 cycles and after 35 to 40 cycles what we normally have is 34 billion, even more than that, 34 billion DNA molecules. But you have to check on whether our target DNA is amplified or not, and to check that what we use is a probe. This probe is fluorescently labeled and it will only attach to a double-stranded DNA. So whenever it detects that this is the double-stranded DNA, it will attach and it will give out a color by which you can understand that yes, we have to follow the signal which will be crossing or exceeding certain threshold and we will be able to understand viral cDNA. So in this graph you can see a line that I have written CT value, the cycle threshold, means you have, the higher the CT value, the higher is the viral load. But that also we have to understand whether this person has a CT value who has any other fatal disease or not. So that is also a point. So when it gives out fluorescence, it gives out a spike, it gives out a rise. And this is the graph and here is the CT value. You can see cycle threshold. Cycle threshold is actually number of cycles required. I have drawn the graph. Here is the number of cycles that has been conducted in the PCR chain reaction and the amount of fluorescence. So in this case you can find the CT value is standing at this point. In this case it is this point and here it is means exceeding this limit how much it has gone high. Normally what we talk about a CT value or the cycle threshold value should be lesser than 40. Then the person is going to be detected positive. So cycle threshold is the number of cycles required for the fluorescent signal to exceed or cross that specific CT value. This specific CT value, when it crosses by how many cycles that fluorescence is going to give the signal, that is the CT value. Now CT value, as I said, has a certain limitation, means when it is lesser than 40 we detect the person as positive. Now let's understand this phenomenon in a very diagnostic manner. Though these tests RT-PCR and blood test is not the diagnostic test, it is only, you can say, it is practiced in the research laboratories, but we are right now quite habituated to these tests as a diagnostic. SARS-CoV-2, the CT value or the cycle threshold value, that is lesser than 40. That means more is the cycle threshold value, higher is the viral load, we can say. That means more the persons whose sample we have collected has got more of the viral RNA, that we can determine by this CT value. We have to have a concern about the CT value, which should be lesser than 40 cycle threshold value. Now this is a point that in case of a person who has even other severe diseases, for that person the city value is even lower than that than the person who has a mild disease. A person who has mild disease has a higher city value, and a person who has a severe disease has a lower city value. How we will understand? Let's say city value of a person stands at 10. Another person, this is person A and this is person B, the city value is 30. Now who is carrying more infection? As I have said, if the city value for a person who has a severe disease means the city value even goes lower. So in that context, if I say the city value is a person whose city value is 10 has 1 million more viral particle, 1 million more viral particles will be there than the person whose city value is 30. So this is how you ascertain. So after running the PCR, after seeing the fluorescence, this graphical representation will help us to understand what is the city value of the person. That means how much infection does he carry. He is not only tested positive, he is also tested by how much he is carrying the viral load or the viral RNA, and it is going to give us a detailed analytical record of it. So the clinical specificity and the sensitivity is a very big point, and 70 to 80% we can get this value. Now the question arises, how far our RT-PCR, reverse transcription of PCR in real-time mode, is successful or not? Out of 100, there might be 1 or 2 cases when there are false results, means false negatives and false positives. The person who is tested false positive also is giving a false result, and the person who is giving false negative also is. The person who is recording, means whose test, RT-PCR test is showing that no, it's not, it means it should be lesser than 40, he is not tested positive. Okay, so his cycle threshold value is ascertaining the fact that he is negative. He is not carrying coronavirus infection. But there can be a false result also. Why? The reason is of mutation and variation in the sequence. So if there is a mutation, when the primers are annealing, remember in PCR reaction the 3 steps are denaturation, annealing and elongation. At the time of annealing, the primers are attaching. That means little bit I will go back to the back calculation data. This is the double stranded DNA and the primers will anneal. When the primers are annealing, primers are actually carrying that oligonucleotide sequence, that of the viral RNA, means the viral the viral RNA, whatever the sequence, that sequence is our primer sequence, and when it will attach that time, if there is mutation or variation in the sequence, then there is a chance of false result. This is also a point. Another point may be collection of swab, transportation of the swab, storage of the swab has not taken place in a proper method. This is also a probability. So accuracy is there of course in RT-PCR method, but 98 people may be tested truly positive or negative, and there can be 2 false results out of that 100. So false negative means the person who is tested negative, but actually he is carrying the infection and he is going out, roaming about, mixing with people, transmitting the disease. And false positive, a person who is tested positive may not be actually positive also. So the reason is actually mutation or variation, you can say, where mutation and variation in the sequence at the timer of primer binding. When the primers are binding, that means our second steps, that is primer binding time, if mutation or variation has taken place of the sequence, then it might give us false result. But this is not an absolute result or absolute test. And now I am going to explain, yes, it's very expensive because CyberGreen, the probe that is used in RT-PCR, is a very expensive probe. And then I am going to move on with the blood test method.